Hello, hello, guys. Welcome to our October leaders meeting. Can you believe that October is almost over? Absolutely insane. So welcome to our new leaders. We're going to go through and welcome y'all here in a little bit, but I am going to do shout outs first. And it seems I was going through everything for the shout outs. And I was like, gosh, this seems like so far away. I don't know. I just feel like these directors and these star directors and superstar directors have been that longer than 30 days or whatever we're at now. So, but our top 10 PRV, and that is not the right number. So let me look at that real quick. I always like to say how many consultants we were at by the end of the month. And I didn't write that down. So let me get that real quick. I apologize. Did not update that. Okay, so top 10 PRV out of 791, which is what our group was at last month. All over the place. Okay, Whitney Hebel, that's my first time in the top 10 or in the top spot in a very long time because y'all are some freaking bosses. So yay me. Mindy Hilton, which is always in the top spot. Tara Dickerson, Emily Smith, Sarah Evans, Sylvia Slutsky, Kimberly Norris, Leslie Banner, Heather Dunbar, and Paulina Quay. So congratulations to the top 10. Yes, I'm going to say it. I'm going to say it right. For last month. That is incredible. Our top 10 last month, that's, I don't even know. We had so many people over 2K. I wish I could shout them all out. It was insane. Okay. Top 10 TWV paid at title. So we only recognize at the end of the month the people in the top 10 with their TWV that are paid at title, because that's important. You can be a director all day long, but if you're not getting paid as a director, it doesn't matter. Okay. So top 10 TWV, Whitney Hebel, Anya Faust, Paige Rooswald, Tara Dickerson, Sylvia Slutsky, Paulina Quay, Alex Wellman, Jordan Barnett, Lindsay Lynn, and Laura Blaylock. So congratulations to all of you. We had some new people in our top 10 last month. So congratulations to y'all. Promotions in the leaders group, we recognize directors and above because on your team you're getting recognized for all the other amazing promotions that are going on. Last month we had Sylvia Slutsky, Paulina Quay, Lindsay Lynn, and Mindy Hilton all promote to director, and they're all paid at title this month. So congratulations to all of them for not only promoting, but for already being paid at title with a few days left to go in the month. We have star director Katrina Anderson. Yay, Katrina, also paid at title. And then Anya Faust, superstar director last month. So congratulations to all of y'all. Huge month. Okay. Top sponsoring, Emily Smith came in with 3 new teamies. Emily Smith, she was our top recruiter out of the whole group. Mindy Hilton, Jessica Carter, Lindsay Lynn, Leslie Banner, and Shannon Zuniga all sponsored too. So I wanted to make sure we shouted them out too. Most active frontline. So we talk about active frontline a lot in our leaders page, because it is the key to a strong foundation in your business. Okay. This is very important, and we're going to talk about this tonight too, but most active frontline in September, I had 39, Anya had 23, Paige had 12, and Tara had 11. So congratulations to y'all. That's an amazing job. That's something that we should be focused on as leaders, is active frontline. Group sales in September, it was our largest month ever, with $335,000. Well, $420. That's insane. Okay, so we are over our 2 mil mark, which is amazing. Our current group sales for October this month, we're at $247,981. So another amazing month with 5 days left. So congratulations to everybody for not only last month being amazing, but also this month being amazing as well. September is usually always the best month of the year. And October and November are not far behind. So we are still in our super busy season in our business. Announcement, SFR 2022 is scheduled for Utah, Salt Lake City, Utah. Go ahead and make a no strings attached plan for that. As a leader, leaders are born at events, leaders attend events. So yes, as a leader, we expect to see you at these events. So make a plan. Some of y'all been around for a while. You've known for when it happens, it's going to be a year that you knew that it was happening. So go ahead and make that plan. If for some reason it doesn't happen, we will adjust. We will still get together. We will do something as a group with both groups. So keep that in mind too. We still have our Choose to Cruise program going. That is down to a monthly training that we're doing. And I wish I would have written down how many earners we have already, but probably, Anya, would you say 10 maybe total? Somewhere around that in our group, which is amazing because after this a month, we'll be halfway through. So we're not even halfway through and we have some great incentive earners. But I wanted to say welcome new leaders. If this is your first leaders meeting, you're a new leader, I want you to put it in the chat so we know who's here, who's showing up from the beginning. Being in new territory isn't easy. So even if you still feel new and you're not new, that's okay. Know that this is your safe place. This is a place that you can come and practice your trainings on us or whatever it may be, but we just like to keep it to leadership content because your director's page is your number one home. And now you have a second home to come to for different kinds of content. Do we have any new leaders in here? This is my first, oh no, that's her first SFR. Sarah Rose, and this is your first meeting. That's awesome. Welcome, welcome, welcome. I saw Sarah's already going live on her director's page, so I love, love, love that. All righty, guys. So tonight, me and Anya are going to talk to you. We are always trying to think of what can best help our leaders. Oh, Jessica Carter, it's her first meeting too. Welcome, Jessica. And so me and Anya were talking about this. We always talk about it through the month and then we pick what we're going to talk about. And we decided for tonight that we would go with how to pick who we work with. And we're going to do, Anya's going to do a little bit of a leadership assessment, which is going to be super fun for you guys. Okay. Just know that as a leader, the problems or the issues that you're having, someone else is having too. Okay. You're never going to be alone in what you're going through in this business because we are literally all doing the same thing, just in our own way with our own twist. We all run into issues. We all mess up. We all fail. So putting yourself out there and going the extra mile and helping people by sharing what you're going through is really going to be helpful in a place like Legacy Leaders. Okay. All right. So I'm going to start it off and I'm going to talk to y'all about how I choose who to work closely with. Now, as leaders, we want to help everyone, right? Usually that's the mindset. If you're here in this meeting, that's your mindset. You want to help as many people as you can. I'm gonna put my notes up here so I don't have to look all the way down. But there is one of you, and there are X amount of teamies or groupies, teammates or group members. Okay. Whether that be 1 in 1 or 1 in 10 or 1 in 500, whatever your group size looks like, there's still one of you. Okay. And so as a leader, you're not ever going to be leading alone, but it is super important that we utilize things like team meetings, leaders meetings, team pages, mass communication. Okay. And so that's why we have our team pages. So we have a hub of information that as leaders, we can put out information and reach many different people at once. Right. So that's one reason we have it. the main reason, because we could do that by email, and some of us do. So if you're a leader and you want to start sending emails to your teammates, that's fine. And it's up to those people to then utilize that information that you're sharing. Okay. You don't have any control over that. Okay. All you can do is set an expectation. You can ask people to look at things. You can recognize what you want repeated with, people showing up to your team meetings and your leaders meetings, and trainings outside of you, but you can't make them do it. Mass communication as a leader is so important. So whether you're a lead consultant or a superstar director, if you're not utilizing things like your team page, team meetings, and leaders meetings, that's where you first need to start. Okay, because that's where you're going to be able to share what you know, share what content you have to then reach multiple different people. Okay, because you cannot work one-on-one with everyone. As a lead consultant, you may be able to work one-on-one with your close teammate, right? That's easy. But you have to do for one that you can do for 100. And so one day, your team's going to have 100 people on it. It's going to have 200. It's going to have 500. It's going to be where you don't even know how many people are on it, right? You're probably in a spot right now where you know exactly how many teammates you have. You're going to get to a point that it's growing so quickly, you don't know unless you look. Okay. And so that's why we're trying to set you up now with these leadership qualities. So when you're growing and you're to a point of that size, you're already doing those things. Okay. So you should be using your team page daily, your director's team page, not a team page you make, not something you make up, not a chat, none of that. Your director's team page is your main place that you should share, regardless of your title. Okay. And you should be using that daily if you're serious about this business. I'll be completely honest with you. When you start showing up on your director's team page daily, whether it be something you're sharing, a news tab alert, whatever it is, when you start doing that daily, I promise you, you're going to realize a difference in your business and in your teammates. Because you have to remember, your teammates are not just your downline. Especially as a lead to superstar consultant, your teammates are your director's team. So you're a part of that team that you need to give back to. So yes. Okay. So with that being said, that's why we talk about mass communication, because with your frontline specifically, that's going to be your first stop, right? Who you work with closely. You can't work with 20 people closely every single month. It's just not realistic for you having your own business and leading a team. Okay. So I have to come back to that. I don't even know why it's there. So on top of you showing up consistently, you want to work one-on-one with people too, but you have to choose who to work with, right? Who do I work with? Do I work with just anyone who wants to work with me? How do I do this? So one-on-one could be a coaching call. That's what some people call it. I have recently changed mine to business focused calls. Me and Anya have changed to that because we want it to be focused on our business, but it's not necessarily us just coaching you. A mentoring session, it could even just be a text with working one-on-one with people. It doesn't have to have a fancy name. Okay. But before we even step into that, first things first, you have to have your business squared away first. You should not be doing any kind of one-on-one session with anybody until you have your PRV, at least knowing where it's coming from. Me personally, I try to book all of my parties in the first 2 weeks of the month. That doesn't always happen. People don't always want to party the first 2 weeks. Okay. I get that, but I always have my 2K by the 15th. For you as a leader, that goal should be 500 by the 15th. There is no reason that you should be doing any kind of training, any kind of calls, anything without minimum having your 500 by the 15th. And that's like latest. We recognize 500 by the 5th in this group. Why? Because that's a step up. Okay. But if you're coming to me and you're wondering why things are going wrong in your team and you don't have 500 by the 15th, but then you're training people on PRV, you got to understand, they're probably not going to trust you if you're trying to train them on something you're not doing yourselves. Okay. You have to have your business squared away first. Do not take the time away from your business to invest in someone else's. because that's not going to lead to anything helpful for anyone. Like I said, when people find out that you're trying to tell them to do something that you're not doing, and trust me, they'll find out, they're not going to trust you. And then once that trust is gone, it's gone. It's hard to get back. Okay. Because you can talk about something all day long. You can talk about the 3 legs of success and how to do them and how to be successful. But if you're not actually doing it, if you're not on that top 10 PRV, if you're not in the shout outs, if you're not being paid at title, you have to have that self-reflection as a leader to say, and the boss, hello, let's have the boss to step back and say, you know what, team, I'm not producing in my business as I would like. I'm not going to do coaching calls this month. Do you know how much more respect I would have for you as a leader if you did that instead of training someone on the 5th when you're at 50 PRV? It's not okay. I'm not teaching you to do it that way. Okay. So first half of the month is mine. Second half are when I focus on my team and group. So when we start running those potential reports, those are gold. If you do not have those set up, that's on you. You need to get those set up. It is literally a click of a button. But the second half of the month is when I can start looking at people, when I can start looking at numbers, when I can really pay attention to who's showing up. This is when our team meetings are. This is when this is when our leaders meetings are. This is when I can see when leaders who want to promote aren't promoting, but they're not also showing up to things like this. There's 35 people in here. First of all, pat yourself on the freaking back for being here. Okay. Because it's hard. Life is hard. I don't always want to be here. Okay. Eric doesn't always want to be here, but we're here because we make that choice. And you did too, to be here tonight. Okay. So really take the time to be like, yes, I showed up. I'm going to pat myself on the back because I'm here doing not just for me, but for my teammates too. Because guess what? If you're a leader, you probably have leaders here too. And they're checking to see if you're here, I promise. Okay. So down to the nitty gritty. Here's what I look for in people to work one-on-one with them, whatever that may look like. The first thing is coachable. Are they coachable? She said, I feel like you strongly encourage Eric to be here.
Nope, it's all my choice.
Yep.
She asked me every night, you going to come tonight?
Yep.
I said, yeah, absolutely.
Yep. Yeah, he's learning too, right? So the first thing, the first thing I look for in someone is, are they coachable? And you may say, well, what exactly does that mean? Google it. It is a mental attitude. I'm sorry, Google it. It's not that hard. It's a mental attitude for being open and asking for and receiving feedback. That's pretty much saying, I don't know it all. I want some of your input. That doesn't mean you're doing step by step everything we say you have to do. No, being coachable is having the openness for change, and it is a mindset. Being coachable is a mindset for you to say, yes, I want to learn. I want to sit where she's sitting. I want to do the things that she's doing. I want to do the things that she's doing. Being coachable and open to those ideas. Okay. You're not going to like everything that your coach has to say. You're not going to like everything that your upline has to say. It's okay. You can take it or leave it. Your choice. Okay. So open to new ideas and implementing them. When given tasks or asked to try something new, they do. If I do a one-on-one with you and you choose not to focus on anything that we talked about, I won't do a call again. It's just that simple. I'm not saying that you have to take every single thing. But if at the end of the call, at the end of every call that I do, we agree on usually 3 focuses that we're going to do. What are our goals moving forward? That's what I do. So it's a very clean slate to say, this is what your PRV is going to be looking like. These are our goals for sponsoring. And this is how we're going to change your training and coaching. And then if I see if none of those 3 things are ever even being tried, then I won't do a call again. Why would I? Right? And that's where you as a leader have to stand up for yourself to be like, the knowledge or the information that I'm giving is not being used. I'm going to stop pouring into that. And that as a leader is something that you have to decide. Okay. The next thing that I look at with someone is work ethic. Are they willing to work? You can talk about it all day long. You can say that you want this and you want that. But if you're not putting the work in to try and get those things, then that's an issue. We're not doing excuses. You're not messaging me right before a call to say that you can't do it because Susie Q needs to go down for a nap. We're not doing excuses. We're not doing, here's why I didn't do it. Okay. We're not doing that. And work ethic can be learned. Work ethic is showing up, like I said, when you don't want to. Work ethic is putting in the work when you don't feel like it. That's working when it's hard. So, and this is some self-reflection for you as a leader too, to say, is that you? Is that who you are? Right? And Anya's going to talk about that. But all of these things that I specifically look for doesn't have to be the things that you look for, right? But my recommendation, right? I can recommend for what you should look in to work with. You can't come to me 6 months later and be like, I'm doing all the things and no one, it's just not, they don't see me as a leader. Blah, blah, blah. Okay, but you're not listening. You're not listening to what your leaders are telling you to do. I have higher up leaders come to me all the time and they say, so-and-so wants to go to so-so and get coached because they don't like the way that I do it, but they haven't tried anything that I've done. Okay. Okay. Does anybody see a problem there? Okay. Work ethic, showing up when you don't want to. Next thing, who freaking wants it? Guys, you can look at a team page. I could come to your team page and be like, here's who you should be working with. I don't even care what their numbers look like. This person, this person, this person, this person. Why? Because this person shared today. This person went live yesterday. This person has commented on everything that is there. Those hungry people, feed them when they're hungry. Because guess what? If you don't feed the bear's either going to eat you, AKA out promote you, or they're going to go away. Feed the freaking bear when it's hungry and give them what they need. If they're always there showing up, 99% of the time, they're going to do exactly what you tell them. And I will say it, you don't have to do exactly what I say, but those people will. They will try everything because they want to be successful. That is the 1%. Those are the Mindy and Sylvias. Those are the people that are self-sufficient. Those are the people that want it so bad they can't even freaking see straight, to be real honest. Okay. That's when I'm going to work closely with them. I'm not just going to do a coaching call. I'm texting them weekly, if not daily. I'm making sure that, hey, you're going to be in the leaders meeting tonight. Actually, no, with those people, you don't even have to check because they're going to be on there. It's not even a question. Katrina, she's not here. She's probably dead if she's not here. No, she will be on her labor and delivery, pushing a baby out on the meeting because Katrina's always here. Always here. Those are the people you want to work with. Those are the ones that you want to feed the bears. Now, there are some prerequisites with people that I do a coaching call or a business focus call with. And these are not like cut and dry. If you don't do it, you're out. But these are the things that I look for. Must have watched Guide to Growth. Okay. And soon the training that we did the other night, all the SSDs, that will probably be another one that I start recommending. Why? Because it is so much gold and it's so much more than like the technical things of the business, but it's more about big picture. And that's who we want to do that's who we want to work with, the big picture people, the ones who are long lenses, right? So they have to watch Guide to Growth. They have to invest. Guide to Growth is long. It's long. They have to invest that time in their business first before I invest my time in their business, right? Same thing for you as a leader. What have they shown up to that you've trained on or that's been provided to them that you've noticed they were on, right? If it's not Guide to Growth to you, leaders meetings, team meetings, the people that are on those are the ones that you should be working closely with. The ones that always have an excuse as why they can't be there, but they want to ask you how much sin of the month is. Those are not your people. Okay. Is that pretty clear? I hope so. Okay. Numbers don't lie. And guess what? I can see all the numbers and I love it because I love seeing the numbers. but the numbers don't lie. I don't do calls with anyone who hasn't had 500 PRV in the last 3 months. If you need help on PRV, that's great. I can send you some names to look up on YouTube, or you can just YouTube PRV, Cincy sales in YouTube, because sales is a skill that can be learned. If you're not willing to put the time in to better that skill set, then we don't need to get on the phone. Okay. Again, that's my recommendation. If you have a brand new teammate and they really are trying all the things, they're asking people, they're showing you conversations, that's a one-off. Okay. I'm talking about majority of people. If you want to get on the phone and talk about leadership, but you don't have 500 PRV, you've had 200 the last 3 months, then we're taking a step back and we're looking at that. The order of the 3 legs is how I run my business. It's how I run my coaching calls. It's how I run, that's how I make recommendations for other people. PRV, check, question mark, yes. Next, sponsoring, question mark, where you at? Check. Training, okay? Do not train until you have your PRV. Do not train until you've had joined conversations. Do not train and coach. Don't do special programs. Don't do non-income producing things. You gotta check with him until you have those things in line. That's how it goes. If you try to start sponsoring before you have your PRV, that's not how this works. At least it's not how it works in my world. Okay. It's in that for a reason. The 3 legs is literally the Bible of our business. Okay. It is a manual, whatever you want to call it. If you're not religious, you have to, that's something you do have to abide by. 100%. Okay. Who stands out to you? If they're not showing up on your team and they're not showing up in numbers, they're probably not standing out to you. Flat out ask on your team page. I did this the other day. Who wants to grow and is willing to work to do it? And I had probably 15 people that said, yes, me. And I have started a text one-on-one with them that I'm going to share here once I go through it, but it's a text program I'm doing with them. And all it is like I just said, PRV, where are you at in PRV? You good with that? Let's go on to sponsoring conversations. Where are we at with those? How are you doing those? How consistent are you? When are you asking? What are some green flags? Walking them through what we're training on pretty much. Because some people do need a little bit of hand holding to be like, you can tell me to have joint conversations, but I need a little bit more as far as like how many I should have and who I should be asking, especially new people. That's not content for you as a leader, but as a leader, you have to have that content mastered so you can teach it. Okay. And that's why people who grow very, very quickly in this business usually don't stick around long, because they don't have that foundation. They haven't been through it. They don't know how to do the stepping stones to being successful. It's just the truth. It really is. Okay. But yeah, ask on your team page. Even if you're a lead, ask on your team page, who wants to be a leader and who's willing to do the work? Because everybody wants to be a leader. Everybody wants to be paid as a leader. Yes. But who's willing to put in some hard work and do some uncomfortable things? That's who I want to talk to. Right. So like I said, now I have a text message with all these people. Some of them I don't even know. I had to check to make sure they were on my team because I don't know. They're new. They're brand new, but they want it. So I'm texting them. Okay. I also only do calls with people at max every 3 months. Why? Because when we're on a call and we're talking about all these things we have to work on, you're not going to be able to call me back the next day and be like, yep, I did it all. We're done. That's not how this works. We're working long lens. So 3 months is about what I do. Usually I like for it to be longer, to be honest with you. I want to see that you're working on those things through your numbers, through your showing up, through your promotions, through all of those things. Okay. And then I personally, as a leader, I only do 4 calls a month. I've done a lot more and I've done a lot less. I do 4 calls a month. So when you're thinking that you're a leader and you have a team of 10 and you need to be going everywhere, you don't. Why? Because we're back to that mass communication where you're showing up every day and you're in their notifications. Whitney Hebel has shared a training. Whitney Hebel has made a post. Whitney Hebel has gone live. That's my training for my team, for my frontline. And again, they have to choose to use it. Now, when I see that they're interacting on it, when I see that they're not just saying replay, but they're asking questions or they're responding to what I'm saying, those are the people I'm working with. Right? I'm doing 4 calls a month. Why? Because they take a lot of my energy. I don't know what it is about it. I don't know if it's my personality, but they take a ton of my energy. I do 1 a day, usually, sometimes 2, but I do 4 a month. And it's the last 2 weeks of the month. Okay, so I'm usually only doing 2 a week. That's not a lot. And probably some leaders would tell you that's not enough. But my numbers show you differently because I show up consistently in other ways. Texting, emails, Tip Tuesday, meetings. Okay, it's more than just a bunch of one-on-one communications. And I think maybe some people have a skewed view on leadership with that, where they have to always be texting their teammates, always be checking in, always be doing those things. No. In their first 70 days, honestly, for me, once they're certified, they know what they're doing to get sales. Okay. They know. It's okay. You can take a step back. Some people may say that I don't do enough, but guess what? Again, the numbers don't lie. Majority of my people hit shooting star. Why? Because I give them what they need and it's up to them to do it. If they need help, I'm here 100%, especially those first 2 weeks, right? I'm talking to them probably daily then, but how many people are you sponsoring a month? No more than 3 here recently in our group, right? So that's 3 people a month that you're talking to daily. That's not a lot. So let's scale it back to, instead of thinking that someone is doing, or if you feel like you have to do a bunch of one-on-one conversations, that's not what you have to do for leadership. And you have to think bigger scale for these type of things. Because like I said, with a team of 10, you may be able to do weekly check-ins with people. I check in on my frontline every 3 months, and I have almost 60 frontline. I have it set up in my Amy where everyone comes up, and I usually know who I've talked to recently. There's people that I talk to a lot more than every 3 months, but I at least at minimum check in with them. What's going on? How are things? It's not, how do you feel about your business? It's not, why aren't you active this month? It's not those type of things. It's touching base with them. Again, why? Because they have multiple things that they're delivered on the team page, on the leaders page that they can use if they choose. And that's why we're always saying, show up, go live, do a training, because it's a lot easier than probably what a lot of you are doing, where you're like, oh, I'll just check in with them. We've had a director say, oh, I do one-on-one check-ins. They're local to me. I can talk to them in person. Person's not a director anymore, because it's not something that is replicatable for a large team of 30 plus people. It's just not. Okay, so I have on here, this is all what I do as an SSD, larger numbers, right? So scale it down to what you are, scale it to whatever you want it to look like. If you can do more than 4 calls a month, go for it. You don't have to do 4 calls. I'm just saying that with a group my size of 800 people, I do 4 calls a month, because there's other ways that I'm reaching people through the mass communication. I'm working smarter, not harder, with our team pages and all the things I've listed. If you've run out of people to work with, you need to build a new team.
A yellow marker that goes across, that's short.
If you've run out of people to work with, if you felt like you work with everybody, you need to build a new team. You are not sponsoring enough people. You're not. Instead of looking for people to train or to even train again, go have some sponsoring conversations instead. Okay, because that consistently growing is what's going to feed your team and your group more than constantly pouring into a drain that's not using it. Okay, and I'll end with this. The question that I get the most is, how do you know when to stop coaching someone and stop giving them that one-on-one time? That's when what they're saying is not matching what they're doing. Okay, because there are those one-offs of people that will say, I want this, I want to promote, I want this, I want to do the incentive. huge. Like everybody wants to earn the incentive. Yes. What are you doing to earn that incentive? What's your PRV look like? Do you have the 1,000 PRV every month for the consistency? Then you don't want that incentive. You don't want the trip if you don't have 1,000 PRV. I'm sorry. You have to pay attention, not just who talks the talk, but who walks the walk. And you're going to know who those people are, and you can want it for them. And they could even be someone who you see being really good at one point, but if they don't want it, you can't make them. And you trying to make them or push them to do better or to do this or to show up or to want more than just being active or to want more than just having 500, you're going to exhaust yourself and you're going to get so drained from this business and leadership, you're probably going to want to stop. Because usually that's where people get. They're so focused on who they have here and they want them to be here instead of pulling people from here to here. Okay? They have their group, they have their team, and they want big things for them so bad. They're trying to pull them up with them. You cannot drag people to the top. Okay? You can give them gas for their car. You can show them how to use a steering wheel. But you cannot get in that driver's seat and do it for them. You cannot do it. So when you start having the feeling of someone being like, they're showing up to everything, they're saying they want all these things, but they haven't been active in 3 months. Nope. Take a step back and tell them. This is your job as leader to tell them and be like, I appreciate that you're always there. I appreciate that you want big things, but until you start putting in this, a minimum, 500, whatever you want it to be as a leader, until you can give them a goal for them to work towards and they start meeting that goal consistently, that's when we'll move on. We've been doing that a lot with people with the 2K PRV. People want 2K PRV. That is the ultimate goal for a lot of people. But if your average of PRV over the last 6 months is 800 PRV, your goal should not be 2,000 PRV. Did I say 200? I meant 2,000. Your goal should be a little bit more than what your average is over the last 6 months. Okay. And that's okay. You're not going to turn around and start making 2K tomorrow. It's just not, that's not how business works. You might make it this month, but you won't make it next month. Or you might make it this month and next month, but next month you don't have any skills. You don't have any foundation in place to consistently get that. Okay. So it's hard as a leader to not give everyone everything. But I promise if you start doing it now, you start protecting your peace and you're really intentional with certain people, like I said, 4 months for me. But on those 4 people, I give them my all. I give them any idea, everything I can. I'm mentally engaged in their call for days before and after, thinking about what we're going to talk about, thinking about what they could be doing, checking on them to see what has changed, looking at light bulbs going off. For me, it's mentally I can do 4. Okay. So you have to make that choice and you have to find what's best. I used to do like 10 a month and I was not a happy person. But I have found now I'm in my groove. I know where I'm at. And regardless of who thinks it's not enough or too much, that's what's working for me. We're consistently growing. We're consistently doing what we need to as a team and group. It works. And that's what matters. Okay. Sorry, I'm reading the comments. Anya, I'm going to go ahead and give it to you and then we'll do questions at the end because there's a lot to read. Where are you at?
Okay.
All right.
All right.
Okay.
Y'all, we are going to do one. I did not realize that I was going to look bald on here. So that's fantastic. Like, what the heck? Anyways, okay. We are going to, we're going to do a leadership assessment today. I am super excited about this because I feel like we've got to really make sure as leaders, as directors, as star directors and superstar directors, we've got to make sure that you have the ball in your court. Okay. Just like Whitney just talked about, like we can only speak so much. You got to do something different. Okay. And I have also realized that I thought self-reflection was like a big thing that people just did, and I'm learning because of Scentsy, it is not. People don't self-reflect. Like, I know it sucks to look at yourself and be like, dang, I can improve there, but it needs to be done. So we're going to do that tonight. I'm super, super excited. Okay. I want you guys to hear this first. Occupying a leadership position is not the same as leading. Okay. Just because you are a lead, just because you are a director does not mean you are actually leading your people. That's a problem. That is a problem. Okay. So just because you have the responsibility of being a leader does not mean you're a good leader. Awkward, but it's so true. Okay. Some people are natural born leaders. They get it and they're like, yes, okay. Some people, they've got to hone in on those skills. That's okay. Everyone can work to be a better leader. Every single person. Okay. Leading involves connecting with your people, training your people, not just a one-on-one text here and there. Okay. Literally giving them a training. All right. It involves motivation to an extent. It involves you showing up by example, okay, and sharing what you're doing so that they can do it too. They can't learn what works for them if you don't show up. They just can't, all right? So you need to know as a leader and understand that what you show, how you act, how you think, okay, how you affect other people, that is all very, very important. And you've got to be aware of all of that, okay? So being a good leader means doing a lot of self-reflection and personal development, and we can never be too experienced, okay? But before we get started on this, I want you to drop in the chat on a scale of 1 to 10. Nobody should say a 10, just gonna throw that out there, okay? But on a scale from 1 to 10, how great of a leader are you? Everybody put it in the chat. Scale on from 1 to 10. Not what you want to be, okay? What you actually are. Not what you're like hoping to be, what you really are, okay? Right, all right. I like these 5, 6s, 7. Whitney says an 8, 5, 8. I love this. Okay. All right, y'all are doing it. Okay, cool. So that's good. So from what I see, besides a few, okay, most people think they're about average. Most people think they're about average. We about to find out. Okay, well, really, you're about to find out if you're average, not me, because I won't know. Now, I want you to go. I'm going to go through these questions. You take out your pen and paper, which you should already have because you should have already been taking notes. Okay, and I'm going to ask you these. Write down your answers to these things. Okay, so number 1, and my numbers are off, so please do not go back and ask me to repeat a number because I will not know what number it is. Okay. So number 1, do you like setting up goals and targets for yourself and for others? Okay, you could do yes, kind of, sort of, and no. Make it easy on yourself. Yes, kind of, no. Okay. So do you like setting up goals and targets for yourself and other people? That's the first one. All right. The second one is, what is your response to someone who questions your decision-making ability? What is your response? Do you accept what they're saying? Do you ignore them? What's your response? Do you take it? Do you think about it? Like, what is your response to someone who questions your decision-making abilities? Okay. All right. The next one. In your opinion, do you respond fairly to issues on your team? Do you respond fairly? Do you put your emotions into it? Are you that person who thinks it's all against them or even maybe all about them? I don't know, but do you respond to issues fairly in your team? Okay. All right. The next one, are you open to suggestions from your team? Or are you like, no, I am the boss. This is what I'm doing, period. Well, I don't know. What do you do? Right? Are you open to suggestions from your team? Okay. Do you personally think a leader should be reasonable? Do you think they should be reasonable? Do you as a leader, and I'm not going to see these, this is literally you. So like, you can be honest, okay? Be honest with yourself, please. Do you as a leader hold any grudges against those on your team? Do you hold grudges? It's okay if you do. Okay, I'm just gonna throw that out there. Like, it's okay. All right, because sometimes that happens, all right? Do you hold any grudges? Okay, next. Do you feel being correct is more important than being right? Those are two totally different things, by the way. I'll have you guys look into that later. Okay? Do you feel being correct is more important than being right? All right, the next one. Do you feel that you're providing guidance to help others rise to where you're at and beyond? Are you providing that guidance? Yes, maybe so, no. All right, the next one, I'll give you a second to write this one out. Where do you see yourself in the next 5 years? What title do you see yourself at? What do you maybe see your paycheck at? What do you see your team size at? Where do you see yourself in the next 5 years? I'll keep going when I see heads pop up. That's how I know you guys are done writing. All the heads move. Okay, here's a good one. If you had a team of you, to a team of you in your Scentsy business, how would you feel about that? PRV wise, leading wise, sponsoring wise, how would you feel about that? If you had a team of you, to a T in your business, how would you feel? Okay. Do you believe in yourself? Do you believe in yourself? That's an important one. What does your communication process look like with your new teamies or current teamies? What does your communication process look like? Do you ignore them? Just kidding. Don't do that. Don't ignore them. That's bad. Well, it depends. Take that back. That's a joke. Okay, next, I want you to think about your favorite leader of all time. Your favorite leader of all time. Do you emulate what you have seen them say and do? Doesn't have to be a Scentsy leader. It can be just a leader. Okay, so all of those questions are there for a reason. Those are there for you to look at and to think about after we get off this call. And I can post them. I just don't have their number properly. So I can like post the actual questions so you can line them up. Okay, but I want you now to go back into the chat and rate yourself as a leader. Is the number the same or is it different? Okay, Sylvia, like it. Okay, oh, maybe a 5 instead of a 6. We're just gonna go down 1. Okay, I like that. That's good honesty, Lindsay. I like that. Yes, I love this. Good. Okay. So I want you guys to think about this too, okay? 1, you have to be so proud of everything you've already accomplished. That is gonna be huge. There are things that you do right, even if you're like, I kind of suck. There are things that you do right. There really are. You cannot suck at everything unless you're just completely removed, honestly, okay? So think about that. Be proud of yourself for where you're at. And I want you to remember this. Successful leaders do have certain traits. Yes, we're all very, very different. Our businesses are going to look different, but we do all have certain traits if you're a successful leader, okay? Two huge areas are going to be your self-confidence and your positive attitude in your leadership. Those are going to make all the difference in the world, okay? So it's easier to help people do their best when you're positive and you're optimistic. Self-confident people are usually more inspiring than people who aren't. They just are. If you got, nobody was inspired by Eeyore. Let's be very honest. No one was. Get out of here, Sylvia. No one was inspired by Eeyore, okay? We just weren't. And Tigger was a hot mess, but at least he was having a good time, okay? So we have to think about things like that. When you are confident, you're more inspiring. It just is the way it is. How do you gain that self-confidence? By doing the work, by practicing skills and mastering them. You cannot become more confident in something if you're not willing to do it, if you're not willing to make mistakes and get better, okay? So you have to master certain skills and know that you do add value to your team. So many of you guys refuse to go live and train on the team page. And if I mention it on a tip Thursday, you start disappearing like crazy. All of a sudden, everybody's gone. Like, I'm not stupid. I can see the numbers, but it's because you guys really think that you have nothing of value to add. And that's such a lie. That's such a lie, you guys. Any of those questions you can train on. Any of those questions, if you were like, yes, I am bomb at that, you can train on those things, okay? You need to think about that. You've got to be proud of where you're at while still continuing to move forward in what you're doing, okay? So what inspiring vision of the future do you have for yourself? Think about that. Transformation leadership is a style where leaders have an inspiring vision for themselves and their teams, and they makes their teams want to do those things too. So if you're telling your team what vision you have for the future, that there are big things at the top, that anybody can get there, they really just have to do the work, they're going to want those things too. If you're not telling your team that things are possible in this business, that's an issue, a huge one. A huge one. If I go and I ask your teams, hey, did you know that it's possible for you to get to the top? And they're like, what? Wait, me? If they have no clue, that's a problem, you guys. That is something they need to know, okay? So we have to help other people want it too. You got to think about motivating your team and letting them know these big things are possible. And even if you're like, but it hasn't happened for me, you've watched people do it. You've watched them. It might not be your time yet, and that's okay, but you've watched them. You also know what this business has done for you in your life. It's not just about a title. There's so much more to it, okay? There's no reason your team cannot get there. No reason. And there's no reason that they shouldn't know that they can get there and big things are possible, all right? Being a good role model is a huge thing when it comes to your leadership. Again, lead by example. You've got to show up. Your people will not do what you're not doing, period. They're not going to do it. So later on, when you hit director, you're like, my team just won't train. Okay, well, let's go back and look at the leaders page. How many times did you train? How many times did you open your mouth and say something? Not just shout yourself out because you are active or you're paid a title. High five, you get a paycheck. Okay, moving on. What have you done for the team? What have you done for others to show them that they can do what you're doing? That is what matters, okay? Like, let's be really honest. It's great that you're paid a title. Fantastic. That's not a gift for everybody else. That's literally a gift for you. Like, congrats. But what are you doing to help others get to where they want to be? Even if they're not on your team, they're in your group, they're a part of your family, okay? You have to think, great leaders do not just sit behind a desk. They get out there on the front lines, you guys. They demonstrate the actions and the values that they want from their team. That is so important. I'm not gonna listen to somebody who's literally sitting and has never ever showed up. Why would I listen to a word they have to say? That makes no sense. Why would I follow them? That's ridiculous. Like, I'm not doing it. I'll tell you this, just as a side note, my husband's in the Army, if you guys don't know, and he had a leader when we first got in here, and he was like, that leader is so fantastic. I would follow him to any war, into any war zone battle. I would be there in a heartbeat. He got a new leader in, and he was like, I would not follow that man into McDonald's. That is a big difference, okay? That shows you what type of person people want. If you're literally willing to go put yourself on the battlefield to die for someone versus walking into a restaurant, you're like, Matt, I'm good. Nope, I'm not getting explosive diarrhea for you today. Like, okay, what type of leader do you want to be? You've got to be thinking about these things, all right? An effective leader is going to have expectations, and they're going to communicate those clearly. So yes, you can sit there and text your leaders. Hey, where are you? If you know they haven't shown up in a while. Well, some of them, you know they're going to be here, like Whitney said. You know they're going to be here, and that's going to be great. But you can ask them where they're at. That's okay to do. That's okay. And they may ignore you, or they may be like, oh crap, here I come. They might need that extra push. I'm not saying handhold everybody, okay? But it is okay to be like, where are you? There's a meeting. You literally just told me you wanted big things. Where are you? It's okay to hold them accountable. That's what you're doing there, okay? Just like my son, he wants this really big Lego set, but then he was at Walmart trying to spend his money. No, you said you wanted this. That makes no sense. I'm gonna hold him accountable. This is what you said you wanted. Oh, yeah, that's right. His vision just got skewed for a second, but he came right back. It's the same thing, okay? People get sidetracked. Bring them on back. It's all right. All right, so think about that. When you communicate clearly and concisely with your team, there is less uncertainty, which means you'll have higher team performance. When they know what your expectations are, right, they're gonna show up more. You're gonna have higher performance. Why? Because they're being poured into. They're training themselves. They're learning. They're showing up. They're doing the hard things. How many times have you not wanted to come to a meeting and then gotten off and been like, dang, I really need to hear some of that? So many times, man, I really needed that connection more than I thought I did today. Okay, so think about that too. It's super important. Demonstrate the actions and the values that you expect from your team. Show up. Be someone that they would be willing to go on the front lines with. Okay, so we've got to make sure that we're giving support, shouting them out, valuing them, training them up. All right, if you're not doing those things, you guys know that is a huge problem. And now I want you to go back to your list, okay, of the things that you're like, man, I really sucked at. I know a few of those stood out to you. So I want you to pick those and to intentionally work on them. That's your job. Nobody else's. No one's going to handhold you. No one's coming to tell you to be better. Okay. No one's telling you to show up. Like, that's literally your job. Go back and focus on those things. Okay. You're going to analyze your weaknesses. All right. Analyze them. You have to understand why those things matter in your business and in your leadership. So if you're like, what is it? I get really mad, say, when someone questions my decision-making abilities, usually only in my own household, but it's fine. I get really upset, right? Like, why are you questioning me? I'm making the decision. If that's something that I'm upset about, I've got to figure out why. Why am I upset about that? And what damage will that cause to my leadership? That's what you need to be thinking. Why does that bother me? Why am I not good at it? What damage is it causing in my leadership? Okay, I can think of, won't say names. I can think of one leader who never, ever, 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 ever in a million years will show up. And I'm like, what damage is that causing in her leadership? No one trusts that person. Her team isn't showing up. You want to know who they come to? Me. For everything, literally everything. You know who they add their new teamies to? My team page. She literally caused her own damage, okay? You've got to self-reflect. You don't want to implode yourself. That's your own fault. You don't want that to be the case, okay? So analyze why this is a weakness for you, what damage it's going to cause in your team. That will show you why it's important to work on that. All right, you've got to be willing as a leader. We've got to do trainings and research it ourselves. We've got to be committed to making a positive change in our leadership, because none of us are perfect. We all have something we can work on, and it's an ever evolving thing. It doesn't stop as a leader. It's literally like being a parent. Once you think you've got it down, something else happens, then you're like, oh crap, I do not have it like I thought I had it. Hold on. And you've got to adjust and change, right? Literally told my husband today, you cannot keep treating our 11-year-old like he's 6. He is a preteen. He turns 12 in November. You've got to start giving him a little bit, right? We've got to change our parenting style. It can't be like this now. It's got to be more like this for him so he can branch out. It's the same thing with your leadership. You've got to learn, okay, and change. So look at where you wanted to be in 5 years, okay? Think about that. That's going to be your motivation, your fuel. Holding a leadership role is not the same as doing the deep work to change and grow your leadership. But it's going to be a continual process for you of self-reflection to work towards bettering yourself so you can be better for your team. Okay? Huge, huge, huge. I will post those questions just in case anybody missed those with no numbers. I'll post them with no numbers, but they will be in order because I don't have the right numbers. So it's just a mess. But that's what I have for you guys tonight. And I'm super excited, super, super excited. Because it is hard to see like, oh, I need to work on that. I need to fix that. But it's so important, you guys. So important. None of us have it all together, ever. If there's anything I've ever taught you, that should be it. Don't have it all together. Right there. All right, y'all.
Awesome, awesome. Okay, so I did see a question from Mindy about, she said, so I recently saw you made a post that said, who wants a coach call, and offered it to your entire team. Was there anyone who wanted one, but you didn't necessarily want to give them your time because of lack of effort? Or did you change your perception of them because they're making an effort to reach out? So for that specific post, if they were on my team, I text them, or I message them. If they weren't on my team, because I still have some directors' teams on my page, I gave the directors their names because they should be the ones that are working with them. But yes, I text everyone. I actually just finished that today because it took me a while because I want to make sure I'm taking time with everyone. But it's before we go on a coaching call, Okay, so it's a one-on-one text to say like, where are we at? Tell me how you're feeling about things. Again, it's the PRV. Is their PRV consistent? Yes. Then okay, how many conversations are you having? What do those look like? Like I said, and then, but if they're messaging or they're saying they want a coaching call, but they haven't had their PRV or they haven't been consistent with that, I tell them like, let's make a goal of what you want that to look at. I, as your leader, would like it to be 500 by the 15th minimum. And then once you can do that, then we can move on to the next step. And so that will be that texting. And like I said, I will share that once I get through someone completely. But I'm literally just giving them tasks for them to work on. And then it's the ball's in their court to come back to me and say, hey, this is where I am with what, the goals that we talked about. Kind of like a coaching call on a smaller scale, but it's up to them now, right? So today I gave people till Sunday to have 10 conversations. And I've done this with some of y'all too, but I guarantee you half of them won't ever message me back again because they're not going to do it. And if they do, then we're going to go to the next step, right? So yeah, for that specific one, there are people that want coaching calls that I won't get on a call with them because we've had one before and nothing came of it, nothing changed. And I'm not just going to continue to pour into it. And then there are people who want to get on a call, but again, I'll reach out to them one-on-one and just talk to them and tell them why we're not doing a call, because that's a hard conversation to have. But it's also, I have a coaching call request form out there now. I shared it today. Guess how many people filled it out today? Zero people. Okay. So, which is crazy, right? Because a lot of times people will be like, I was so nervous to ask you for one or to say I wanted one, which I get. Like, that would be hard for me, as a new lead consultant. But then I reach out to at least 4 people a month and say, hey, I would love to do a call with you. And that's usually where it comes from. So, all right, guys, we're going to end this recording, but don't go anywhere.